On the morning of May 14, 1987, in Fiji, which is located 5,000 kilometers away from India, 20 armed soldiers stormed the parliament. As soon as they entered, they held the prime minister and other ministers at gunpoint. Before anyone could understand what was happening, the head of the soldiers, Colonel Sitavini Rabuka, entered the parliament. With a gun pointed at the prime minister sitting on the floor, he said, "Welcome to Rabuka's land," and Fiji, at the time, had a significant population of people of Indian origin, about 49%. Rabuka harbored deep hatred for the Indian origin people, and his sole purpose for the coup was to make life unbearable for the Indian community in Fiji, so they would be forced to leave the country. The news of the coup reached 12,000 kilometers away, in New Delhi, and created a massive stir. As soon as the Prime Minister, Rajiv Gandhi, received the news, he called for a secret meeting with the RA chief and the External Affairs Minister. With Rajiv Gandhi's words, RA launched an operation, and 3 of their most skilled agents, Malik, Sehgal, and Singh, were tasked with bringing down Rabuka's reign and restoring a democratic government in Fiji. This operation was named Operation Fiji. In August 1987, in Sydney, Australia, a black car stopped in front of a large bungalow. 2 men stepped out of the car and entered the bungalow. Inside, they met with another man. This seemed like a routine meeting, but it was actually the first step in breaking Rabuka's hold on power. These 3 men were RA agents, the most skilled ones, Malik, Sehgal, and Singh. Their goal was clear: remove Rabuka from power by any means necessary. The mission was divided into 2 parts. Sehgal would run psychological operations, using media and international bodies like the United Nations to pressure Rabuka into holding elections. Meanwhile, Singh would target Rabuka's inner circle, turning them against him. Malik would oversee the entire operation. But before we dive deeper, let's understand the context of why there were so many people of Indian origin in Fiji and why Rabuka was so determined to oppress them. Fiji, like India, was a British colony. In the 1870s, the British brought laborers from India, primarily from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, to work on sugar plantations. In 1970, Fiji gained independence from Britain, but by that time, the Indian origin people had become highly prosperous. They had established businesses, taught in schools and colleges, and even had prominent roles in the government. However, the indigenous Fijians, led by Rabuka, could not tolerate the success of the Indian origin community. Rabuka, influenced by Hitler's ideas, was determined to rid Fiji of Indian origin people. He began by seizing their land, expelling them from government jobs, and even carrying out massacres. The Indian origin people were severely persecuted, and Rabuka went so far as to strip them of their voting rights, planning to reduce them to second-class citizens. Once Malik briefed Sehgal and Singh, Sehgal returned to Delhi and started contacting major media outlets in Fiji, trying to build pressure on Rabuka through international diplomacy. Meanwhile, Singh worked to find allies in the Australian government who were willing to oppose Rabuka. After weeks of efforts, Singh managed to find such a person, an Australian minister, referred to by the codename Ark. With Ark's help, they launched a full-scale campaign against Rabuka. In January 1988, the situation in Fiji became even more dire, as Rabuka's forces were committing atrocities against Indian origin women, and Malik, who had been overseeing the entire mission, decided that it was time to destroy Rabuka's regime in one swift blow. Malik directed Singh to find someone within Rabuka's ranks who could help them. Singh, with the help of their informants in Fiji, found a senior officer named Philip. Philip, disillusioned with Rabuka's tyrannical rule, wanted to move to Australia but lacked the funds. Singh made him an offer: if Philip helped them, he would have the money he needed to settle in Australia. Philip agreed, and soon provided Singh with a list of senior military officers who opposed Rabuka. Singh and Malik used their contacts and money to sway these officers to their side. The goal was to assemble a large faction within Rabuka's army that would eventually turn against him and pave the way for free and fair elections in Fiji. However, just as the operation seemed to be making progress, things took an unexpected turn. Philip, under pressure from Rabuka's forces, betrayed RA and revealed Singh's identity. This put the entire operation in jeopardy. Singh and Malik were forced to go underground for several months, delaying the mission significantly. But despite these setbacks, Malik remained focused and continued making strategic moves. By February 1992, 5 years had passed since Operation Fiji began. Although Rabuka still held power, Malik's strategy had managed to reduce the severity of the oppression faced by the Indian origin people. Finally, the international pressure on Rabuka to hold elections became too much for him to ignore, and he agreed to hold them. In the elections, Rabuka's party did not win a majority. He was forced to form a coalition with the Labour Party, led by Mahendra Pal Chaudhry, an Indian origin candidate. This was a historic moment, as Chaudhry became the Prime Minister of Fiji, marking the success of Raw's operation. But Malik wasn't done yet. Years later, in 1999, after the elections, Malik received a mysterious parcel. Inside were documents revealing Rabuka's extensive corruption. Malik made copies of these documents and distributed them to key ministers in Fiji. The exposure of Rabuka's corruption caused even his closest supporters to turn against him. In the elections that followed, Rabuka's party won only 8 seats, while Mahendra Pal Chaudhry's party won 37, forming the new government. After years of struggle, an Indian origin man had finally become the Prime Minister of Fiji. Malik, who had dedicated so much to this mission, couldn't hold back his tears of joy. A few months later, Malik, Singh, and Sehgal met once more, celebrating the success of Operation Fiji. This operation is a testament to the bravery and dedication of Raw, who risked everything to protect the Indian origin community in Fiji. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like the video and share it with others.